Hey everyone, welcome back to another Anime Kingdom review. See by title below, yes, this is on episode 12, the final and last episode of Fuuka, and honestly, this episode went exactly the way pretty much most of us thought it was going to. It ended up being a super predicted, kind of cliched ending, forced happiness in a way. Like, honestly, I'm gonna say this right now. If they decided they wanted to do, this route where they would go with Fuuka and everything, and instead of not, having the whole thing with Koyuki, then what they should have done was just not have all those parts and fully invest their time in developing the kind of feelings that they had and the kind of, just putting more development for you and for Fuuka instead of putting like several episodes with you and Koyuki. It felt like it was just like they put that in and then after like, wait a minute, that's not what I want to do, and just immediately forced it in one episode where there's no logical reasoning behind it, and he just breaks up with Koyuki. Like, that part always really irritated me. And if they ended up doing it where instead of that part, instead of having all that development for him and Koyuki, if they put in all that development elsewhere and actually progress the story towards this point where we have this episode would have been fine. I actually, like, if you it's stupid to think about it, but if you just like completely erase all the several episodes before and you see this episode, it's like, oh, okay, cliche as it is, it's still cute, it's still, has a nice happy ending. But instead, the way you see it is that the last few episodes into this episode were just like super last minute. The pacing was rushed like crazy, everything was forced, and in the end you have this part where we pretty much know everything what's going to happen. You got this cliche kind of things with her still of course not going to him. They set up a gig and everything for this day, even though they don't know for sure that Fuuka is going to end up coming with them, to which of course, yeah, she ends up doing it. And at first, she doesn't want to go, and guess what? Yeah, it's gonna be Koyuki throwing herself to the side because she's such a good person, and literally telling her to be, honest to her feelings and everything, to herself. And because of her mother, she finally decides, well, no, she still doesn't decide actually, because she just goes and does, here's another cliche thing, guess what? Where is she? She's on the spot where she always was, on the roof, and you have a rooftop confession, and you ends up confessing to her and everything, and the stuff that he said about why, it's because of her for all these reasons, yeah, that makes sense, okay? And like I said, if they put more development in their relationship, instead of having like several episodes of development for Koyuki and, him, and then just throwing it aside for no logical reason, and for never showing really any feelings that Fuuka had for him until this certain point, and even feelings that you, like real romantic feelings that you had for, Fuuka, then I would have been okay with this. But instead, it just felt like out of nowhere in a way, and just super forced, like, you know what, yeah, I like you, there's no other way, obviously I rejected Koyuki already at this point, I broke up with her. And then of course, he says he loves her, she says he loves him, they rush down to the, their gig and everything. For some reason, at first, right there and then, I would have been okay with, they're in a rush, they have to go start and go and, do their gig and everything. But it's so unrealistic as well, and so forced and rushed, that there's no time for the development of the rest of the band. They're all just like, yeah, it's okay, it's fine, like she said, it's for her own selfish reasons. None of them are mad, especially Nachi, the drummer. You would expect some type of like them getting mad and at least saying it right there, which would have made more sense. And instead it's just like, yeah, happy, go, let's all happy, we're all happy, let's get on stage and everything. And then of course this part I like. The one thing I always like about Fuuka is the music. I do enjoy the music. We got to hear For You again, hear some other song, I think that was Climax High as well, and then only a part of that one. And then we got to hear the new song Fair Wind that you ended up writing, and it was nice. I did enjoy it, okay? I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy it. And you know, there's several things after that I saw that people were in the forums were saying that, like, that whole bunny thing with Koyuki, for an anime watcher only, we don't know what the hell's going on there, but it's actually progresses something in the manga, and a lot of people were saying like they don't know why they even put that in there. There's no reasoning, especially since there's no second season. And like, they did another thing that was really disappointing, since I thought it was going to have something like this, was the whole part with the opening. It shows what's it called, hedgehogs playing with Fallen Moon and Koyuki, and I was expecting to see that, or at least see what's it called, hedgehogs do a song again, do their performance, one song there. That would have been cool. That would have been awesome. But instead, no, we just get shown them, and then of course the ending is a cute little ending, forced happy, where all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I want to be with you forever, and it's like that's where it ends. I would be okay with this ending. I keep saying I would be okay with this ending if they didn't do it the way they did. If they didn't force everything down our throats in 3 episodes. Like, these past 3 episodes, I have literally just hated, because it felt like I said, that one week they decided, let's switch it up. This is how we're going to do our anime original ending. It was literally like a last second, decision where they're like, okay, we're going to do this instead. And, that ends up being how they do it. They just like, yeah, we're going to make it him end up with Fuuka, even though they had all this development in Koyuki. It really irritates me on that point, that I really would have enjoyed this anime if they had done it in a different way. It really does suck, because honestly, these last couple episodes, several episodes, in my opinion, have really decreased my rating of this, whole season overall. So yeah, let's talk about how I feel about the season now that we're kind of over the episode. How I felt about the season. I actually enjoyed, the beginning first half. It was nice. It was good. Sure, I know a lot of people were like, where's the plot? Where's the main story and everything? And I do kind of agree with that. Maybe if they cut down on those parts, they would have, if they really wanted a love triangle, they could have put those in a little earlier. Because in the end, it felt like the love triangle that they had, they just forced it, like, once again, like I said. It felt like out of nowhere, Fuuka started having feelings. And they just, honestly, in my opinion, just made her character 10 times worse. They made her feel so, like, selfish and arrogant, when normally she wouldn't be like that. She just, out of nowhere, just because she, like, all of a sudden her feelings come out of nowhere kind of thing. And there's no build up to this point, no development to this point, and all of a sudden everything goes her way, pretty much. They have to go. Everyone, the Koyuki thing, and everyone being okay with her, even though she did this. It felt so forced and rushed. Like I said, first half, I liked it. Could have been condensed more so that you have more for the love triangle if that's what you wanted. It's funny to think about the main things when we came into this anime, that the main, genres for this was like love triangle and, of course, music. While I wish there was more music, because I actually did enjoy the music, and even though I don't like love triangles, in my opinion, there was never really a love triangle in this. Sure, it came at the end, but there was nothing up to this point. And then when the love triangle did come, it was probably one of the worst love triangles I've ever seen, just because of the way they, like, just the execution of it was really badly done, in my opinion. And the whole thing after, when it became Koyuki and it became you, and I know a lot of anime watchers onlys actually really like this, this ship, and I was one of them. And honestly, like I said, if they had, instead of doing all this development for you and Koyuki, and instead did it with him and Fuuka, I would have been okay with this ending. It would be a lot more time for the development to build up to this point, instead of just having, boom, there you go, that's how it's going to end. Just, we have to make it happy and nice and everything, so we're going to just throw it down into this last couple episodes kind of thing. That's why I really did not like this. And of course, since they did decide to put in the Yu and Koyuki, development and everything to this point, it came that when it was just this one episode, if they had more episodes to do stuff after, it would have made sense. Maybe like then he starts to have feelings for her, and it shows the development for him and Fuuka, then there is a rejection kind of thing. Then I would have been okay with it. But instead, it was no logical reason. He never really showed any romantic feelings for Fuuka up to this point. Sure, it showed like sometimes that he had like, some looks of attraction kind of thing, some heated moments and like a little crush at the most, but nothing really. Instead, you have Koyuki, who has, been in love with you for her whole life since they were childhood friends and everything. And once again, the childhood friend pushed aside just because they wanted him to end up with Fuuka, It's literally like, man, it seriously sucks because childhood friends literally this always happens to them, and it just really sucks, honestly. There are some, I'm not going to say always, actually. There are, of course, animes where the childhood friend wins, but in terms of, majority, it's usually ends up being with the childhood friend being pushed to the side. That's just how it is. And it just sucks because if you wanted anime original ending, you should have known from the start, and you should have progressed it into that point instead of being the way, let's take off a week right here, and instead, let's think of what we're going to do, and boom, we'll switch it right here. It's so last second, and because of that, also just, in my opinion, made that part of the anime so bad, honestly. So forced, the pacing was rushed, no logical reasonings behind certain characters. They went from making Yu's character from, like, I was okay with his character to just, like, completely making him this cliche, generic main character, to which I didn't like him at all. And it's just, I don't know what they were thinking, honestly, that my rating of this anime, honestly, like a 6 to a 6.5. Yes, that's what I'm going to say. It lowered it a lot because of the way everything went towards the end, Just forced and rushed, and instead of just making it towards this one way, they made it another way, and ends up just like, I can't say it enough that it felt so forced. Like, this felt like a forced happy ending, honestly. And, I'm always up for a happy ending, okay? I don't want an ending where everyone's crying or super sad. No one does, really. I mean, I guess some people do. But, I just did not like the execution of everything, honestly. And that's why I'm giving it such a lower rating. Because I felt it could have been done a lot better, but instead they did it this way, and that's why I think overall the season doesn't deserve anything higher than a 7 in my opinion. But yeah, it's all I really gotta say. Like, if you wanted a different route, like a different route for them to go, an anime original kind of route, I actually would have been cool with him being with like Sarah or something. That would have been cool. If you're not gonna have it with Koyuki, go with Sarah. If you're not gonna have it with Sarah, hey, you know what? How come? What about the teacher? When you find out the teacher is one of your, the pianist, the person who plays the piano, their teacher was, actually the piano player in your favorite band, and she's definitely good looking. Go for the teacher route. That would have been pretty interesting to see. But overall, like I said, it just felt that the first half, in my opinion, it was okay. I did enjoy it, but I felt that it could have been condensed if they wanted to have this kind of ending. And since they didn't, instead they had the development going towards Yu and Koyuki, which I would have loved to have that kind of ending with those two together. But instead, they thought, it felt like they went one way, then they went here, and then they were like, shit, that's not what we wanted. Too late to, normally it would be too late to change, but instead, whatever, let's just change it, and then there it is, forced and rushed down our throats, and that is how we came to these last several episodes. And honestly, I'm just happy this is over. Am I going to read the manga like I said before? Probably, honestly, yes. I want to see what are the differences, what happens next, and I don't know, I just feel like this ending gave no closure in a way. I guess it gave closure. It gave closure to a forced and rushed ending, but I want to see where it actually goes. I want to actually have, like, actual, not, some, like, this closure for me is like, oh, okay, whatever, it's done. At least I know it's done kind of thing, But what I really want is some meaningful closure, so I'm definitely going to read the manga, see how it's going. I think it's still ongoing, so that should be interesting to see. Like I said, I may just put this in with my normal, weekly manga reviews if I catch up to that point kind of thing, But yeah, it's all I really got to say, guys. So please enjoy this Anime Kingdom review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. And yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. So till next time, see ya.